Please note that this podcast contains information regarding sensitive events, including domestic violence, assault, and abuse, as well as other triggering events such as murder. This podcast is intended for mature audiences. When Alice jumped down the rabbit hole, she immediately regretted her decision. A rabbit hole is a metaphor for something that transports someone into a troubling, surreal state or situation. Welcome to Afterglow, the unveiling of the Idaho cult. This podcast will take you down the deepest of rabbit holes as it unfolds. The story is so compelling, so bizarre, and so heinous, it's impossible to look the other way. Chad Daybell and Charles Vallow were dedicated in the most horrible way to an ideology that should only be fiction. Instead, their ideology put them behind bars. Join us as we explore the lives, lies, and diabolical crimes of Charles Vallow and Chad Daybell. I'm your host, Kathy Brooks. Please follow and subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Hello and welcome everyone to Season 4, Episode 3. This is the continuation of Melanie Gibb sitting at the police department in Chandler, Arizona, where they are interviewing her. She gets into some stuff here. So, before we get started, I wanted to say a couple of things. You can send me a message on the podcast. There's a link for you to send a message, although there's no way for me to return the message, I noticed. This is a new thing that they offer, but I only see the message. I can't return it. I haven't figured out how to return it. But someone did ask me they were going to do a donation to my PayPal. The link is correct. My name here is my maiden name, Kathy Brooks. My married name is Fisher. So Catherine Fisher, that is the correct person to send the PayPal to. If you click on it and you think you're going to the wrong place, it is correct. Otherwise, help me keep the show going if you're absolutely have the ability to. No donations too small. It really does help me to pay for the software and my time and editing and all that stuff. If you can, if not, no worries. So Melanie Gibb is a piece of work. She interests me because I don't know what to think about her half the time. And when I listen to her in these interviews, I really think the true Melanie comes out. She plays dumb a little bit. She plays like she didn't know. But she's really the one that blabbed her mouth so much that got the ball rolling where people were able to go, okay, wait, these kids aren't just put somewhere safe. There's a problem. You know, it's kind of a love-hate thing, I guess. We hate her, but we love her because she is, in fact, the one that was smart enough to record Chad and Lori on that recording that they brought to the preliminary hearing where she says, well, where are the kids? Well, I asked Al and he said, I don't want to know. And then boom, after that, guess who was dead? Alex. This case has so many avenues of deceit, diabolical crimes, and stuff we may never, ever know what went on. But I'm here digging down those rabbit holes. So if we're going to find it, we're going to find it here on Afterglow, Unveiling the Idaho Cult. So stick around, stay with me, and please, someone, please, you guys, if you could please leave a thumbs up, a comment, a review, a 5-star rating, whatever you feel appropriate. It will really help get my show out there. I know, and you know, if you've gotten this far, that this is one of the best true crime podcasts on this case available. Every nook and cranny in chronological order is being investigated here. So, without further ado, here we go. Season 4, Episode 3, Melanie Gibb, The Price of Silence. August 19th, 2020. We continue with the Chandler police interview regarding Charles Vallow. Welcome again to Afterglow, Unveiling the Idaho Cult. I'm Kathy Brooks.
I didn't even watch it. I couldn't go back and watch it. I was like, oh.
Oh, I've watched it.
I couldn't even watch it because I was like partially under her, and I was like, I don't want to see myself in that video. I'm tired of seeing myself on TV.
So tell me about Julie Clement.
Yeah.
Are you friends with her?
Not anymore. And I was a little bit friends with her. It was Zulma that was friends with her. Yeah, and Zulma and her. Okay. And they did energy work. That's how they knew each other.
Gotcha. Did you ever attend any kind of, my understanding, their prayer circles?
Yeah, a few times. Mm-hmm.
Okay. How about one in August after Charles' death?
Yeah.
You remember going to the house?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
So we met at, so let's see, who was there? It was Melanie, Alex, I think Alex was there, Julie, Zulma, me, David, Chad, and Lori. That'd been it.
Okay.
I mean, so yeah, so they wanted to have a little prayer, yeah. And he whipped out a seer stone. I actually saw him with a seer stone.
Who did?
Chad did.
Chad did?
Yeah, I can't remember if I told that the first time. Sometimes I was like, do I need to share everything? Like,
What's
you know,
the importance of that?
I don't know. He just had it in his hand. I don't know. He just had it. Maybe he just wanted to show that he had it. I mean, he didn't say anything about it other than I saw it. I was like,
what is it? What is a seer stone to you? As far as?
Well, there was no explanation. I could just guess what it. I could guess that you could through scriptures what it is.
Okay.
So he identified it as a seer stone.
Yeah, but he didn't go. He didn't talk about it. He just said, well, if he did, I don't remember. I don't remember saying anything about it.
Do you remember any talk or during that prayer about Hiplos?
Possibly. There's a good chance. Well, let's see. Charles is already dead, right? So I would think they would have talked about that.
I think Julie had mentioned something, Clement had mentioned something about a dragon.
Yes, I remember her. So I didn't have any of their visionaries.
Okay.
That was not any. I don't do energy work,
okay.
So this is all something I don't. That's their stuff. Okay, mm-hmm. Just say that's their department.
Sure.
And it seems like I remember Julie had this veil that seemed to be thinner, where she could see something, so could Zulma. It seemed like there was a prayer where there was a dragon. They saw I saw a dragon.
Okay.
Maybe they mentioned it a few times, but if they were in that little circle saying a prayer, I don't know why Helios would be mentioned if Charles was already dead.
Was there a reason behind that particular prayer circle, maybe?
I'm trying to remember what. I remember them saying prayers. I remember Zulema speaking.
As they mention, seeing beyond the veil. As you know, Chad was supposedly able to see beyond the veil. So, seeing beyond the veil, this phrase is often used in spiritual and occult context to describe the ability to perceive things that are not visible to the physical eye. It can refer to psychic abilities. It can refer to clairvoyance or the ability to communicate with spirits or other entities. Some people believe that the veil is a barrier between the physical world and the spiritual world, and that it can be pierced through meditation, prayer, or other spiritual practices. Now, it's important to note that these concepts are often associated with subjective experiences and beliefs that may not be universally accepted. However, within the context of their prayer circle, they could provide some valuable insights into the beliefs and motivations of all these people. And she mentions Julie Clement and the dragon. You know, dragons in mythology and folklore are mythical creatures that appear in folklore and mythology of many cultures around the world. They're often depicted as powerful and fearsome creatures, but they can be symbols of wisdom, strength, and protection. In some spiritual traditions, dragons are associated with the element of fire, water, and air, and they may be seen as guardians of sacred places or getaways to other dimensions. So keep that in mind as she talks about the role of Julie Clement and Zulema being able to see beyond the veil and talking about dragons. And let's decide, what was the significance of the dragon in the context of these prayer circles? What did it mean to see beyond the veil for Julie and the others involved? And how did these beliefs and practices influence their actions and decisions? Let's continue.
I'm trying to remember if they were talking about certain people that they were trying to help the spirits, you know, like that they thought that they had the power to take these spirits out of the bodies.
Okay.
And I'm trying to remember who she was focusing her energy on. And I can't recall. It could have been Brandon. It wouldn't have been Tammy, because Tammy had not been claimed anything. My guess is it could have been Brandon.
Okay.
But I am not 100%
Sure.
I'm not 100% on that. Or maybe it wasn't even, maybe she was talking about the earth. Hold on, I'm just trying to remember this. Because Zulma thought she had the power to control elements and bring earthquakes about and those kind of things. So that might have been more of that kind of I really, it was so out there. I'm trying to remember what that prayer. David wouldn't even remember any of it because he was so checked out. he was like, this is so uncomfortable. Yeah. He was so uncomfortable by it. Oh, he was so uncomfortable by it. Anyway, I'm sure he probably doesn't even remember. He blanked out. They could have been talking about the earth. I mean, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. She just had this.
On that note, talk to me about Zulma. How well do you know Zulma?
Well, I knew her. She won't talk to me anymore. Okay. When I told her I was going to police, it was done. So yeah, we were friends in the ward. We knew each other probably about a year, maybe, or less. Okay.
All right, have to interrupt. Melanie's statement about Zulma cutting off contact after learning she was going to the police is incredibly telling. Think about it. Zulma, upon hearing that the authorities are involved, immediately distanced herself. That raises a huge red flag. Why? What was Zulma so afraid of? Was she involved? Did she know something? Was she simply scared? Now, fast forward to the trial. Eventually, Zulma is a witness for the prosecution, a key witness, in fact. This seems like a complete 180-degree turn. How do we reconcile this? The answer, at least in part, lies in something called the limited use immunity, which was later confirmed that Zulma did receive limited use immunity for her testimony. Limited use immunity is a legal tool prosecutors use to get testimony from people who might otherwise refuse to talk. Essentially, it means what Zulma said on the stand. Under this grant of immunity, couldn't be used against her in future prosecution for the specific matters covered by the immunity. It's a way for the prosecution to get valuable information, even if it means offering a form of protection to the witness. So, Zulma's initial reaction, the immediate distancing from Melanie, suggests a potential fear implication, a desire for self-preservation, or even loyalty to someone else. But her later cooperation, like under the umbrella of limited use immunity, which is what they gave her to testify, paints a more complex picture. It suggests she had information the prosecution wanted, information crucial to their case. It also implies a possible shift in her own priorities. Perhaps she realized cooperating was her best option. Perhaps she had a change of heart. Perhaps, we can only speculate. But the contrast is stark. And the limited use immunity is a key piece of the puzzle. It begs the question, what did Zulma know? And what price did she pay, if any, for her silence before she finally spoke?
So you talked about how she had the power, she felt she had the power to control elements and bring about earthquakes.
Yeah.
How do you know how long she and Alex were dating together or anything like that?
Yeah, so in the beginning it was just, hello, how are you, getting to know you. It didn't happen until kind of right at the end. Okay. So if you want to know more about that, what I know about that is that she was content being single, but Chad and Lori had said, well, you and Alex have been married in another life, and you had been married, and you guys would be part of the 144,000, and you need to move up to Idaho and get married and all that stuff. And she was like, no, I'm not getting the same answer. It was kind of tit for tat between her and Lori about that. But she was waiting to get answers. I remember one point, this was like right at the end. This was like my last time or two when I saw her. But she's like, I remember Chad and Lori in Hawaii. And me and Alex did a blessing through the phone because they were being attacked by Julie Rowe through a text. The text that went through, they hit it. All of a sudden the dragon, this is according to Zulma, I know. We try not to smile during these moments, but I know. Okay, anyway. This is why the interview was hard with Nate. Some people thought I was like a little too lighthearted because you look like Nate. You can't help but to go, this is freaking weird. Anyway, so she said, oh, me and Alex were in this prayer and we could see the dragon. His priesthood power is so amazing. You know, she just was so like wowed by it. And they helped cast that dragon out from Hawaii where they were, and anyway, it's supposed to help them.
Okay.
So, so let's see, they got married and so, okay, they moved there in September. So I would say, when did they start? Okay, so, oh yeah, okay, so if we were at the dinner in August, they started getting more friendly then. They started getting more attractive. So I say that's summer.
Okay.
Yeah, that's helping me, yeah, with just settings. If I can remember a place, and it seemed they started to kind of like each other in the summer.
Okay. How close were you with Alex?
Friends, you know. Yeah,
I mean,
friends.
would you contact him, call him on the phone for anything, or would you do the same?
Very occasionally, but
Okay.
yeah, that would happen.
Describe his
Personality?
dedication. Describe his dedication to Lori.
So I remember in the beginning when they started talking about her Joe, he was very protective of her. So there was a lot of like, you know, he would describe Joe as this horrible person and how, you know, he felt the need to protect his sister. And
Okay.
so I remember saying something about he tased him in the nads, and he would say, and then something about the trunk. And he didn't care about if he went to jail for her. He was like, he felt like that was his duty to protect his sister. I don't know why he felt like that, but
Okay.
he did for some reason. Now, later I understood why he felt like that more is because what Chad told him. What Chad told him later, you know, as they started getting into their crazy, more and more of their crazy doctrine, right? Then they would be introduced to him. In the beginning, Alex was a nobody.
Mm-hmm.
He'd just been here on Earth once.
Okay.
But then later they would say, oh, now we understand you only had wits because you're only here for Lori. You didn't need to come. You're already exalted. So you were that angel that stopped Laman and Lemuel from killing Nephi. You were that angel.
Okay.
So he took it on as his identity, and so he felt like his job now was to kind of protect his sister and be that angel of whatever.
So you think he was 100% buy-in through
Well,
this?
I think so, because when he said he moved, he got a confirmation. Lord said, you pray about it, see if you should move to Idaho. And he said, 100%, I got this. Yes, I need to go. And then when I saw him, the last time I saw him, I said, this zombie thing, like I'm not 100% on that. And even Zulma said, yeah, I'm still getting confirmation on that.
Okay.
He goes, 100%. Melanie, 100%, I believe it. And I'm like,
Okay.
so my guess is he fell for the whole thing. And then the interesting thing is he really had a lot of weight on Chad. He really believed him. He even gave him a patriarchal blessing.
That was my next question.
Yeah.
Were you there for that blessing, or
No.
did you ever hear the blessing?
So that day that I saw him in the Greenbelt when I was walking between two houses, when I said, do I want to know how JJ, what is going on? I'm starting to feel like something. I'm still kind of in that shocking coming back from the whole police thing.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so I was trying to figure out what was going on still. Anyway, so as we were walking, he has like on his phone, he goes, I don't know, he probably read a little bit, I don't remember what he said.
Okay.
He was like tearful about it.
Okay.
He was like really believing, like, Chad gave me this beautiful blessing, and I just cried like a baby. And Melanie's like, I don't ever cry until after I have a blessing. I don't cry during it. It's just saying something about that. And I was like, just listening.
And this was in Idaho?
No, this was in Arizona.
Arizona here.
This was
Okay.
Arizona, yeah.
Do you remember when that was?
Yeah, it was, well, okay, so 26th they called me, and 27th, 28th would have been Thanksgiving. The day they got married. What day was that, 29th?
November?
Yeah, was that the 29th? I think I figured it out on my paper somewhere. So, it's the day they got married. It was that day.
Okay.
Okay.
Describe the patriarchal blessing to me in your terms. What do you think? What do you think the importance of a patriarchal blessing is?
Well, the way I grew up believing patriarch is a patriarch is called of God. He's a particular person over a whole stake that gives a blessing to a person about their life.
Okay.
So, I don't know what Chad thought he could do, but he sure thought he played that role there.
So would you say that Chad was not authorized to give
No,
such a blessing?
absolutely not.
Okay.
No.
Would Would you say that such a blessing would be like some sort of, like if you got it at a younger age, would be some sort of guidance for you? Or is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, oh yeah, it talks about your life and your gifts that you have and maybe some things that could happen in your future. If you were obedient, you could have those blessings happen to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
That being said, I just wanted to play, so this particular clip is, I have it labeled as patriarchal blessing.
Okay.
Just for purposes of recording. So just, if you could just tell me whose voices you hear in this.
Okay.
Now, we come to another deeply disturbing element of this story, this so-called patriarchal blessing. The one Chad gave to Alex shortly before his death. They are going to play that. This is a particularly sensitive point, and it's crucial to understand the context within the LDS Church. In the LDS faith, patriarchal blessings are sacred ordinances. They are given by ordained patriarchs, men who have been specifically called and set apart for this role within the respective stakes. These blessings are considered deeply personal and spiritual, offering guidance and insight into an individual's life, lineage, and potential. They are a significant part of a member's spiritual journey. But here's the critical point. Chad Daybell, to our knowledge, was not an ordained patriarch. He did not hold this calling within the LDS Church. This is not something anyone can just do. It requires specific authorization and ordination.
I am Chad Daybell. It is
That's Chad.
November 24th, 2019, a Sunday afternoon, 5:15 p.m. We are going to give Alex Lamar Cox a patriarchal blessing.
Alexander Lamar. Good morning.
Alexander Lamar Cox.
So the two people you heard voices were Lori and
That would
Chad?
be Lori and Chad.
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead and play it. Nate Eaton of East Idaho News had a full recording on his YouTube. So thank you, Nate. We're going to listen to this now.
Chad Daybell. It is November 24th, 2019, a Sunday afternoon, 5:15 p.m. We are going to give Alex Lamar Cox a patriarchal blessing.
Alexander Lamar.
Alexander Lamar Cox. On this special day, I lay my hands upon your head to give you a patriarchal blessing. As part of the member of the Church of the Firstborn that you have earned the privilege to be a member of. I do so by the power of the Melchizedek priesthood which I hold, and in the name of Jesus Christ, our Savior, who has authorized this blessing. It is grateful that you are receiving it as you move forward in your life. You are a member of the House of Israel, of the 12 tribes, and you are a descendant of Joseph through the tribe of Ephraim, which grants you many blessings, particularly of spreading the gospel in these latter days and protecting and preserving those who seek to learn the truth. And that has been your mission on this earth, and it will now expand into ways that we will discuss further in the blessing. I want to begin by opening up the portals of time and going back to your previous creations in which you've lived. I see you on the third creation as a valiant warrior fighting for truth and righteousness, always seeking to do what is right. Then you progressed and were selected by the Savior himself to be part of the fourth creation. Great warriors were needed in that creation. Powerful goddesses were needed to be protected, and you were selected to help protect your sister. And you helped her in numerous probations as a defender. You have a special bond even from the premortal world. You connected there. And as she grew in power, you were right there beside her, always with a humble heart. You both always were so humble. So as this fifth creation began, after you had been exalted in the fourth creation, when you could have gone on to exaltation with Holly, resurrected being, you accepted the Savior's invitation one more time to come to this mortal realm, to condescend as a God. You help us. You have already assisted us in ways that can never be repaid. But you will continue to do so as you move forward in this life. You were born into a family that needed you desperately, with a set of parents who spoke of the gospel with their mouths, yet did not live it. And once again, you were reunited with a sister who needed you to survive such an environment. In no way was it a reflection on either one of you that you lived in that home. You were put there to help each other persevere. But the lessons you had to learn in your youth have now made you both strong, powerful servants of the Lord that would not have occurred in a traditional LDS home. You had to go to great depths to achieve tremendous heights. And the fruits of those trials are beginning to be demonstrated. You were granted to be a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and that was a strength to you. You learned about your Savior and grew closer to him and rekindled in some ways the connections you've always had with him. And through adulthood, you have refined yourself. And I just want you to know that at this time, the Savior is saying unto me, well done. Thy soul is cleansed. All is well. And now you'll begin into your terrestrial phase of this existence, that you'll be a powerful servant. I bless you with that knowledge that you'll now move forward as a true warrior in ways that can be demonstrated through not only physical action, but through spiritual power that is coming to you and will be bestowed upon you. I bless you with the knowledge that through marriage, you'll be united with a partner who will match your powers and complement your strengths. You'll be known throughout the world for your good-heartedness, your willingness to save souls all over the world through portals, and you will begin to gather the souls that come unto Christ. I see you in New Jerusalem, but more importantly, I see you as a messenger of the Lord. Surrounding New Jerusalem will be many small communities where people will come who aren't quite ready to enter those heavenly gates, those terrestrial gates. And one of your missions will be to go among the people and testify as a prophet that they can make it. You'll share your own experiences of overcoming adversity. And through your example, they will rise up. You will give tremendous blessings to them, raise their vibrations, and be like a brother to many of these fathers who may have had doubts, but through your strength, they will look to you as a hero, and you'll bring entire families that have been sanctified to the gates of New Jerusalem, and they will be allowed in on your word. Will be just one of the many wonderful experiences you'll have. I see you doing that often, but then based on assignments, you might go further into the world. Always serving, always a missionary. And with your companion, you'll communicate with Mother Earth herself. You'll know where to be before natural disasters happen, that you can be on location to protect key leaders, church leaders, and to preserve who should survive. Little children, I see you gathering up little children in your arms, saving them from floodwaters. Just having a collage of moments that await you in this life, rescuing the pure and innocent, leading them to safety. Dozens of instances. And you will be looked upon as an angel on earth. You'll literally glow for those who are allowed to see you. And those mortals who aren't allowed to see that will know through the spirit of the great power you possess. Proper time, after many years of service in such ways, as the second coming approaches, you will know when it's time to move to the other side. This body that has served you well will lay down one day, and you'll pass. Your spirit will leave this body, and you'll be greeted wholeheartedly and welcomed by the Savior himself. You will already know him, but that reunion will take place on a greater plane. That the spirit, you'll feel at that time, the vibration will exceed all. Before the second coming even occurs, the Savior will let that body rest a day or two, and much like himself, you will be raised and be resurrected, so that when the Savior does return, you will be right at the front of that amazing team of angels who will sweep the earth, much like described in the renewed earth. You will be there It will bring you great joy to help Mother Earth transfer to a terrestrial realm, to burn away the celestial refuse. At that time, you and Holly will still have assignments here temporarily, but then you'll move forward. She's already preparing a world for you two, and you will be able to be an eternal family with eternal children on that earth. And the glory will just continue for you out, on and on through eternity. So I bless you at this time with strength, power, and dominion over the callings you'll receive, and that you are part of a very special team of people that are moving towards translation and transfiguration, and that the Lord will be with you at all times. You will be a patriarch in your own home. You will give blessings similar to this. Your veil will be essentially gone. You will be able to see into the past and into the future for these individuals and share with them the same type of knowledge and truth. I bless you with protection throughout your mortal life, that angels will now be assigned to you as you've reached this vibration. You have 9 angels assigned to you now to watch you from all sides through your faithfulness. I know you will stay faithful. You have a great mission. I protect you. I bless you with a strong protection against Satan and his followers, Lucifer, Cain, anyone else who seeks to oppose you. You will feel a new vitality and strength against them, and to use your priesthood to defend against them. I close this patriarchal blessing by assuring you that you will rise to an eternal glory, and that you will have an eternal family, and that your exaltation is assured through your faithfulness. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen.
So, the fact that Chad Daybell, without this authority, purported to give Alex a patriarchal blessing raises some very serious concerns. It's outside of established church doctrine. It's a misrepresentation of a sacred ordinance. And frankly, it's deeply troubling. Think about it. A patriarchal blessing is meant to be a source of comfort and spiritual direction. But in this context, it feels manipulative. It feels like another instance of Chad exerting control, potentially taking advantage of a vulnerable situation. Alex was facing his own mortality. He was likely seeking comfort and answers. And Chad, it seems, stepped in to fill that void, not with genuine spiritual authority, but with what? We can only speculate. But in the context, the fact that this blessing was given by someone without the authority to do so casts a dark shadow over the entire scene. It raises profound questions about Chad's motives, about his understanding of spiritual matters, and about the power dynamics at play in those final moments of Alex Cox's life. It's something to consider deeply as we continue to unravel this complex and tragic story.
Okay. How about your relationship with Chad? I know that introduction was done, or whether it was done or not,
Yeah.
in St. George.
Oh, with me or with them?
With the two, I think you went to see Chad in St. George was the first time they met, right?
That was the first time we met. I didn't go specifically to see Chad.
Correct.
Okay.
But
yeah.
But you'd known Chad before then?
I had known Chad before him.
Describe your relationship with Chad.
So when we first met, it was very brief. We just kind of introduced, like, hey, I'm Melanie. I live in Arizona. I've had some beautiful experiences with the Lord myself, and I probably mentioned I did classes probably. I've become friends with Mike and Nancy.
Okay.
I don't even know if I even shared that much. Just a little bit.
Okay.
If you read that forward of my book, that part, he talks about that in that.
Okay.
I sent that picture to Rob. I don't know if you have a copy of that.
Okay.
But anyway, I have a copy of that, and he writes a little bit in detail, like his remembering me. So that would be more detailed there.
Now, if you look at this hierarchy or circle or however you want to do it with trust and vibrations and scores and everybody else, who would you put at the core or the center of this group?
Chad and Lori were definitely, they consider themselves the head of that group.
Okay, and the group, was there a particular name for the group?
No, this is where a lot of people are like, is there a big following? Okay, so
Yeah.
I'll do my best to describe what I at least know.
Okay.
There's lots of other things I don't know, because Chad's so quiet about his life, I wouldn't know a lot about it. In Chad's little circle with Lori, there was just the people that I mentioned around that table, except for there were 3 other girls, but they kind of got kicked out of the group, and I think you know who they are: Serena, Christina, and Nicole. They got booted out like right in the beginning. So
For any particular reason?
well, I remember Serena was calling Chad too much, according to Lori, and so now we decided those two decided that she needed to be out because now she's becoming dark.
Okay.
She didn't do anything. Thankfully for her, she's out.
Okay.
Christina and Nicole were the first ones that Lori started talking to her. That was before I met her. So they were the first girls that she would want to ordain as part of the 144,000. Those were those 2 girls. And they left the group. I think they started getting suspicious. I think Christina in particular gets suspicious of Lori because she would call her out on some things at some point or question some things the group of us.
Right.
Anyway, and so she got suspicious. So then they started saying she was all these things about her. She was getting darker, and then at some point I remember, oh, this is bad. I remember this now. She was, what do they call it? She wasn't 100% human. It's like she had like another, man, I can't remember what she referred to it as now. I want to say lizard or some lizard. Anyway, that's really out there.
There's a Geico commercial where
like she came from some other. Anyway, that's, you don't even want her to know that she did that. You don't want that to come out.
So
but
she's
anyway,
gone.
she's out of there. Nicole's her best friend, so she's out too.
Okay.
Nicole is very sweet, and as you probably know. And so anyway, so really that was it as far as this whole kind of zombie talk. That was it. Now, Chad had Julie Rose friends. He left them. They are evil. Mm-hmm. They are mixed up with these energy work things. I think this has all come from energy work. Now that I look back and what the Lord has taught me personally, like, well, let me tell you what happened.
Yeah.
And because I watched it, and so it was just made to my mind, like, this is how an energy to work opened the door. And so Julie Rowe, I believe, got him really. And between the 2, who started what, that's what I'm still trying to kind of figure out.
Okay.
But between the 2 of them, she didn't know about the zombie thing. I think he came up with that. But she introduced it, or either Eric Smith, that follower of Julie's, came up with this multiple probation thing, I think. I heard it could have been from him. I don't know that that's true. I would not know that by somebody telling me that, other than recently, after all this has gone down, like, well, Eric Smith wrote a book on multiple probations, and I said, well, somebody mentioned it. Anyway, I've had people contact me. One lady contacted me that was a part of that little group of Julie Rose, and she was telling me how things are going, and I was like, we're comparing, like, I remember that, Chad doing that to Lori. Like, he had some power over her sexually, and she was saying that some guy did that to her, and she's like, that's just what they do in their group. And I'm like, that's their energy work or something that they do. I said, I don't do energy work. I don't know if she did energy work or not. But anyway, she got out of the group. Her husband was with her and helped pull her out, and she was so grateful, right, that she got out. But So that group exists, but I think Chad was just part of them, and then he kind of broke away from Julie because he got tired of her. According to when they first met, Chad and Lori at St. George, he said, "I'm done with Julie Rowe. Like, she texts me all the time, but I'm done with her. Like, she's so da-da-da." Then there's all these energy groups out there, though. Either, Julie's introduced, she's done her little workshops, but even before, she did that, there's people doing energy works. And I believe that a lot of these groups, in Utah and Arizona, they're doing a lot of these energy works are talking about multiple probations. So it's not that he created it so much. It's just that somehow that darkness got out somehow about this lie. I call it doctrines of devils. That's my word for it. And it got out, and it's kind of plagued some of those groups. So I don't necessarily think he's the founder of any of that.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
But in this group, you would put Lori and Chad.
Yes, but in their particular thing, excluding everybody else, they were like the group. And they had these number systems. So you probably saw someone text, like, there's a group of, I remember, 72, what is in the church? You got your 12, then your 70, and then 144, right? And so she was like, okay, we're in charge of 24. She said at one point she was in charge, they were in charge of like 24, like
I think
4 men and 12 women. Does that sound familiar?
I think what I had
remember that?
found
20, yeah.
something similar, which is the dark and light scale of all church
Leadership.
apostles.
Yeah, no, that's different. But this was, so she said basically in the spirit world, they had planned this out that they were in charge of that group. Okay. And so she was in a small scale. I don't know what he had going on. Mm-hmm. But she wasn't such a social butterfly. She was not the kind of person that wanted a big crowd and know a lot of people. That wasn't her.
Lori?
Yeah. She was more like, I'm just going to be corrupt my family, not. Yeah.
Do you think she took instruction from Chad?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Would she do anything without his, I hate to say authorization or at least insight?
In the beginning, I remember her saying things like, I said to Chad, like, I had this experience with around in the temple, and I felt like he gave me the patriarchal priesthood, and he would confirm it. Yes, you did. Yes, you were married to Morona before. So he would confirm her little things, and then she goes, I felt like I was supposed to find these. Yes, you were, Lori. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then she said at one point, well, he's so good at giving revelation, I just go to him. I'm not as good as I used to be, or I'm not as good. He's really good at it. So I ask him. So she'd be asking him, at this point, you've seen a lot of texts. At this point, is this person light or dark? This person, what are they, 4 point, da-da-da-da-da. That was their, and so you could see she would go to him for that, right? So he wouldn't go to her for that. She would probably just give him a name or something like that.
Do you have any idea how Lori would have found out about Charles and Adam's coming to Arizona to?
I guess is that Charles would have just texted her or called her and said he was coming.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember how she would have known about Adam. Maybe Alex could have told her? I don't know. I don't remember.
So if a message was on there, on her phone, or it's basically said to Melanie Gibb, I'm on the phone, I'm trying to find out what to do. Do you think that she would seek Chad for advice?
Always.
Yeah,
always.
Mm-hmm. Talk to me about Melanie Gibb. What's your relationship with her? What's her part in this?
I'm friends with her. So Lori, as you know, raised her partially, so she feels like she's kind of like a mom to her.
Sure.
She would, in the beginning, Melanie I didn't think she was quite into it at the beginning, and then Lori just kind of camped on her for some reason, like Brandon. Lori went after Brandon, her husband, for some reason. He's gay, he's this, he's that. And then she would build this story up of how she'd try to look at this picture, it makes him gay. Like, it didn't look like it was gay, but anyway. And so she would build this story up about him being gay. And then, I don't know why she honed in on her so much. She just did.
Okay.
And then she, maybe because she thought she was such at a high level, because she got to the point where she's like, yeah, no, Melanie's exalted too. She was married to Peter, Jane, Peter, James, and John. And so, Brandon would be her equal opposite and in opposition to her. And so, for some reason, Lori put all her energy into him. Thankfully, she didn't put her energy into me. Thankfully, I divorced Brennan, which was actually really good, because then that kind of got him out of the picture, which
Okay.
who knows what she would have done with that. And luckily, they liked me, so they kind of just left us alone. But anyway, so she went after him. And then at some point, he changed from Brandon being just dark to now he's a zombie, and he was part of Hitler's team.
Do you remember when that was that he changed?
When she started talking like that, near the end. I mean, it's always closer, it gets crazier at the end, right? It seems. Probably in the summer is my guess.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, I
After
really
Charles'
don't
death?
probably before then.
Okay.
Or, I don't know for sure.
Okay.
It was always evolving. Oh, we'll see. Wait, hold on. So I remember she was moving at the same time Lori moved in the house that Charles was shot in. Because Melanie moved. She got a divorce. So this is how I got to remember it. So I got to remember like placing them in my mind places. Probably, she would have probably called him a zombie by that point. Yeah, I would say so. So there we go.
Thought I silenced that.
Yeah, so anyways, she just started saying that he was after her. I think this is what I got the impression from Lori, is that Melanie, Chad would say through Lori, your house is bugged by Brandon. He's got all these little speakers and microphones. And I was like, does he really? Because I was thinking, I really was just like, really? Are they really in there? And then, you're being followed by some private detective, which, he did have a private detective at one point, right? But I don't know if he had one at that point. I don't know. But so she became paranoid. She became very paranoid, and they would call her every day, give her blessings on the phone, according to what Lori told me. And then anytime I talked to Lori, I didn't talk to her as much after I met David. It really started kind of weaning off me, and all the focus, it seems like now that I look back, all the energy was focused to Melanie, bless her heart. It was horrible what they did to her. And anyway, so she just got more and more paranoid, and he got more and more evil, according to them. And so then she was told by Lori, like, you got to move up here, that kind of thing. So, yeah. What else do you want to know?
It almost seemed like she just preyed on her.
She did prey on her. She put all her energy into her. Yeah, she really did.
Okay.
Yeah. Trying to very much convince her that her phone was everything was being bugged. Her phone,
Sure.
her car was being bugged, everything. She couldn't live a life. She had to get new phones all the time because they were getting taken over by the dark people.
So would I be missing anybody if I put, as far as a group of people, Lori, Chad, Zulma, Melanie Boudreau, Alex, and I think maybe you were on the outskirts somewhere, kind of teetering, ready to run and ready,
Yeah.
Anybody else that you can think of?
Well, Julie
Rowe?
No.
Oh,
Julie Clement.
Okay.
But she was kind of right at the end.
Okay.
So she wasn't in the beginning at all. And then those three girls.
Do you think Julie Clement had any idea regarding zombies, beings, or do you think maybe she was just
she knew about
naive and stuff like that?
Well, she did know about it. But I think because of she believes her gifts in the energy world, she probably thought that she was just helping out. She did not. I mean, if she met with them, Chad and Lori, it was probably a couple times, on my guess. Unless they did more behind my back. But, not around me.
Absolutely.
Maybe a few more times.
Because I think she's indicated that she's only saw Chad twice.
That's probably correct.
And she got introduced by Zulma.
Yeah.
And that they kind of, from what she's saying is she was almost felt like she was being used for her energy.
Probably. That's
Okay,
probably
so
true.
that would
That's
be
probably true.
consistent. Okay.
I'd say she was being used for her energy abilities. Yeah.
Okay.
That sounds like it would be right. And I don't know how many times she met with Lori, but it wasn't a whole bunch.
So back to January. When January in Lori left Charles, and then Charles stayed in Texas with JJ.
But well, eventually he moved
Eventually with JJ.
Yeah.
Where did Lori go?
So I knew she was in the hotel in the beginning, but then
And
she
that
went
was
to
the one
Alex's
on
house.
Is that the?
I don't even remember where it was because I
On
wasn't
Williamsville,
familiar.
a Hyatt on Williamsville. Did you ever go see her over there?
Well, I think one time her and Tylee were there one time.
Okay.
I think I only went to the hotel like maybe once or twice.
Okay.
That was it.
Okay.
So I don't recall how she was so going crazy that I didn't kind of catch every move she made, of course. Then when Alex, I guess he had that house, so she moved in with Alex,
Okay.
and he lived out there in Santan.
Santan.
Yeah, I don't think she lived anywhere else. And then she went to Hawaii, and that was kind of like her getaway home, you know, in the hotel.
Yeah.
Don't remember the name of the hotel. Please don't ask me to remember because I don't even remember. Especially because they're Hawaiian names and I'm not going to get it. Anyway, and then she came back, and where did she go when she came back?
Are you aware of her going to Idaho in March?
Is that the time she was living in Texas? Because I went to see her in Texas, and I think that was
March
the one with
19th to the 20th. Her and Chad
Could have, yeah, she did
flew
mention like
from
sometimes.
Idaho to Arizona.
He came down and did a class for a group of people.
Okay.
It wasn't at my house this time. And I remember she was living in that house before the last house, the one that was in January, the one she lived in January. The one that's not at the big house, but the next house.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to remember this. Sorry, I just lost my train of thought. Where were we?
So she came back from Hawaii.
Yeah. And
it looks like she kind of moved around. So here to here. She went to Idaho, her and Chad in Idaho, and then it looks like in April that she was in Houston. Do you remember a thing in Houston that Chad might have gone to?
I remember when I got to Houston, she said, Chad and I are going to go do some of our mission work together.
Okay.
And then I left, or either I'm trying to remember if I got there or left. Anyway, between the time I got there and left, I was not there, but she said that she went to a hotel. I remember I was like, oh, she's in a hotel. And then she said that she said she was supposed to go to Idaho to portal. They were going to portal into Idaho Temple.
Okay.
I'm trying not to laugh. And another temple. So Idaho Falls, Rex, or something about that. But I'm thinking they probably were in a hotel now. That's probably a good guess.
Okay.
So, and maybe she never left that hotel. She totally made up the whole story. So there we go.
Did you go to an event there?
In Houston?
Yeah.
No.
So there was never an event there?
Oh, there was never an event in Houston.
Okay.
Oh, was there an event? Was there an event there?
So and that would have been April of 19.
That sounds, that could be right about that time.
Are you aware of a group called A Vow?
Yes.
Do you know anybody by the name of with A Vow?
It doesn't sound familiar. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a head person or somebody with A Vow that do you know who that? Anybody else that you know from that group?
Well, okay. So when I joined the group, I met a few people we went camping with up in the Arizona mountains. So I know one person died. Her name was Marty, so she'd be Marty Bemason, but she passed away. And then Lorinda Luck, she'd been on there. And then there was a girl. And I wasn't real familiar with these people. I didn't get on A Vow very much. I was not one of these people that were on these forums. And I was like, read a little bit. very periodically I might like, hey, let's try this product, it's really good, or something like that. But I did not get into their exchanges. So no, if the names scroll by, I didn't hold on to
So
them.
what is a vow?
So a vow is a forum. Do you know what a forum is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it's a forum. It's called LDS a vow, means a vow, a voice of warning. So it originally started by Roger Young,
Okay.
who started teaching about, last day stuff. And so they put really good information, actually. They had like gardening techniques to how to store food, current events.
Mm-hmm.
Then they got into the dreams and visions, where they compiled a whole bunch of people's dreams and visions about things they saw in the future. And then, anyway, so then they pull a thread out, and then people would start a thread like, this happened, this disaster happened in California today, or, just all these different threads. And so people would make comments and all kinds of, they'd start one up, and anyway, they started off. So I got off there like, I don't know, a year or two ago, and the group drove me crazy. So I don't, have I probably ever seen her name scroll past? Who knows? Maybe, but I don't know her personally that I know of. I mean, they have different names on there, so
Sure.
If she has a different name, I don't know.
So so being a forum, you wouldn't see something like send an email. Do you think it's out of the ordinary anybody to send an email to Chad Daybell that would say, my name is so-and-so from a vow?
Yeah, that would be something that would happen.
And
sure.
We're doing a young men's, young women's thing at this location.
It could be.
Okay.
It could be. Yeah,
Okay.
Something like that could happen. Because you could send messages to people in there. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I didn't know how it worked because it was complicated, so
Sure.
I wasn't good at that.
So it was a vow is most like a form or like
It's
a
a form.
threads, that type of thing. So
It's a form.
it's not a company where there's somebody that's head and in charge of it.
Well, yeah. Well, he took over, he bought it from, I don't know if that's the right word, but maybe bought it from Roger, he left it. And so he's the one that's kind of in charge of the whole thing.
Okay.
And he gets money. So he, it's like a fee to get on there. It's like $35 for a year or something
Do you
like
have
that.
information for
He would send emails to me, but I don't know him personally.
Okay.
I mean,
Email
the group would send.
Okay.
It was like, blanket, we wish you'd come back to the forum kind of thing.
Gotcha.
We will definitely get into a vow later. There is a lot to that. That is just one more rabbit hole. And Christopher Parrott is the one that runs a vow and was making money off of it. But we'll get into that later because it's a freaking rabbit hole. I'm not kidding you. Another one.
Which I deleted the other day. I was like, really? You're asking me of all people to come back to the forum? Do you even know that my name was sent? I was like, yeah, right. No, I don't know him personally, and I don't think I've ever talked to him personally. So, yeah. I would just say prideful group. I try to stay away from him. It was bad. Yeah.
Think of anything else? I think that really helps with narrowing some of that timeline.
Do you know who is?
Yeah. I know him first because he was the publisher for Jason Mao. And then he became the bishop also of that board that, I want to say, I get their names confused, Charles and Lori moved into the second house. So he was the bishop for that. When she left him, he was that bishop. Okay. And he was also the publisher, so he helped me publish my little book. And I didn't know him. I met him at a few events. He went with Jason to help promote his books. I think I met him face to face just a few times, but nice man. Yeah.
So, if I use the term, and I told you the term, and this is just your opinion, okay, and with your knowledge of the church,
Okay.
That I'm going to be like Nephi, that I'm going to be like Nephi, or if it was a Nephi and Laban ending, what would that mean to you?
So I think they had that discussion. Alex and Lori talked about something about a Laban and the Nephi thing.
Okay.
So that would mean to me, that part where, well, I don't know how well you know the Book of Mormon. I don't know you that
I'm
well.
learning so much. It's crazy.
So, well, okay, there's a story of Nephi who, there's a guy named Laban who's they're trying to get the plates from him, and so he would have to cut off his head to be able to get those, retain those plates, and he was more of a wicked man. Laban was wicked. And so anyway, he would have to, the Spirit would move upon Nephi, so that they felt, the moving upon Nephi, say you need to cut his head off, because he's not, it's gone 3 times to him now, and he's not giving you the plates. And so anyway, the Spirit says you need to cut his head off, and he does it, and he's horrified about it, because he doesn't really want to do it. He's never killed anybody before. But he does it, and he's able to dress in the clothes of Laban and go get and retrieve the plates, and then they were able to go out and leave Jerusalem. They went from Jerusalem, and then they left from that area. Because they left, they needed those plates then. And so my guess is that when they were talking about that, which, I didn't know what they were going to do, I didn't know all these things, but if I could look back and understand that now, that would probably mean like he would need to sacrifice probably Charles's life is my guess. That's what they're referring to.
And let me back up. You overheard a conversation?
I heard them slightly talking about it.
And when was this?
And I probably right before Charles came down, or days, I don't remember if it was days before it.
Okay.
And I don't remember if she was talking on the phone with somebody. I kind of was just briefly hearing it, but I can't remember if Alex was sitting there or if they were on the phone. I can't recall. I just remember it just sounds familiar. I'll just say it sounds familiar. I'm pretty sure it was before he passed away. That's what it feels like to me anyway. And so my guess is that they felt like that was my guess, interpreting it, that not knowing that at the time, but now that they felt inspired that was a moment where they could take Charles's life. Not Charles, they really felt at the time, well, at least Alex really felt his Eblos inside there.
Okay.
So
in essence, they wouldn't be really taking the life of Charles Vallow.
No.
They would be taking the life of
Eblos. Yeah.
Or Garrett or Ned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what they believed.
Are you understanding that, because they gave 3 names for Charles, other than Charles, so are all 3 in Charles at the same time? Or?
No, one would move on, and the one would get pushed out, and then the other one would take over.
Okay.
So Garrett was next, and then Garrett got pushed out, and then Eblos stepped in.
And that would be fitting their definition of a zombie?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And their way of getting rid of zombies then was at some point either praying or whatever to end that entity's life.
Yeah, so that entity would just leave, just like Garrett left, just like Ned left. So to me, it was very surprising that that he died the way he did. I was like, wow, okay, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So that was very unusual.
So they leave and they're never to come back again, because you said, I'm surprised that they were mentioning Eblos again because Charles was already dead.
Right. So once he was dead, like, where would Eblos be? I mean, and they could have, I don't know, I don't remember, but I would guess that Eblos was gone.
Sure.
And if they mention him again, I really don't remember anything about Eblos again.
So a particular body can only be consumed by one dark spirit
At a time.
Well, in the beginning, so it was Ned only could be in there, or at least that was my understanding, and then he would leave in this other one. But Eblos was different, because Eblos was like a combination of evil spirits combining itself, but they weren't. So, in our religion, we believe that premortally, you have people that came down to the planet and became us, right? We're now who we were spiritually, we're now here. But there was a third of that never came down here and never got bodies. They were saying that would never happen, that there would only be somebody that had lived before, like a Ned who lived on the earth, and the Son, Holy Spirit went in him. But they were saying, oh, no, Satan's getting more trickier. His tactics are getting better and better. They kept saying that he'd get better and better. That was Chad's probably reasoning why things didn't work out the way he thought they always would. It was his way.
So now we've come to a truly disturbing part of Melanie's account. Her explanation of Charles being inhabited by these different spirits. Ned, Garrett, Eblos, Hiplos, the H is silent, I've been told. Anyway, but seriously, and the idea that killing him was necessary to free him. It's vital to understand that this explanation coming from Melanie is not something taught within the mainstream LDS church. While the church does believe in a spirit world and that we lived as spirits before birth, these specific concepts These names, this justification for violence, are not part of the established LDS doctrine. It appears this is more in line with what we know about Chad Daybell's own personal beliefs, his own interpretations of spiritual matters, which, from what we've seen, often veered into the extreme and, frankly, the bizarre. Melanie's recounting of these beliefs suggests she, too, was influenced by Chad's worldview. It's crucial to understand this distinction. Don't mistake these ideas presented through Melanie's perspective as presenting the beliefs of the broader LDS community. They seem to be a product of Chad's own unique and potentially dangerous worldview, which Melanie appears to have adopted. And the fact that Melanie is relaying these beliefs, regardless of her personal acceptance or understanding of them, highlights the extent of Chad's influence. It underscores how these distorted beliefs could spread and take root, even among those who might have not fully grasped their implications. It really does show the tragic consequences of Chad Daybell's distorted beliefs.
That's how I started figuring Chad out. He's like, oh, that didn't happen. Oh, well, it's because of that. It's always, oh, it's because of that. So now there's Eblos. Why wasn't Charles dying? Mm-hmm. They thought they had all these powers. Oh, they all would come up with another reason why he wasn't dying. Oh, now it's Eblos. Now it's all these combinations of they're getting smarter. So there's, and at least I remember Alex saying something about it was like 1,000 of them, or somebody said it. It's like 1,000 of them. Or it felt like it. Yeah. So it was a combination of all these entities that never came to Earth, so they took over his mind. So that's what they were saying.
Okay.
So
Alex specifically told you he was so strong during this fight.
Yeah.
That it felt like there was 1,000 spirits.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I said.
Okay.
And Alex never disclosed to you that he was hit with a bat, just that he was in a fight?
No, I think he told me he was hit by a bat too. I think I remember both of them saying that. I mean, I don't remember it not, it doesn't sound familiar.
How long were you supposed to stay there? And then you showed up on the 9th. Were you going to spend the night?
It was just like going back up, because I didn't live far.
Okay.
So I'd go home, and then I remember sometimes trying to call her, and she was just like, tonight's not a good night. So I think the total times that I've gone there.
But that night, you spent the night on the 9th, and the next morning you said she got up and said you need to leave.
Yeah.
Did you find that kind of surprising?
Yeah.
That she would...
Yeah.
Was it early? Was it what time?
Well, as soon as I walked out of my bedroom, I remember, it was 7, 8 in the morning, maybe. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't one to sleep in, so.
And she says that Charles and Chad.
It's coming down. If I remember, she said today. So if that was the 10th, it would have been the next day, right?
So it would have been the night. You spent the night there the 9th, and the 10th is when you woke up, and then the 11th is when he.
So then she must have said he was coming down tomorrow. Yeah, he's coming down tomorrow or today. I thought it was, she said today. But anyway, yeah, and I was like, why? That was when I was like, why? Like, why would, what reason can a normal person like a policeman say, this guy's coming down to kill me? Like, I didn't understand that. If you think he's evil, it's really, what is the reason? Like, how do you know these things? Yeah. So, it was a little off, definitely, for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did she ever mention calling the police or anything like that, as far as she felt so threatened by him? That she needed to do something, or
she seemed like she was busy, like talking on the phone. She had trying. I just got this feeling she had a storm going on, and
Did Alex ever say why he spent the night? Did he ever tell you why he spent the night?
Well, I don't remember who said what, but I remember his point of staying there is to protect her, make sure she was safe.
Okay.
Something like that, like he was going to be with her. I knew that he was going to be there. I think she said, yeah, he's leaving. You need to leave. Alex is coming to spend the night, and he's going to protect me, something like, he's coming down. I really didn't think a lot about it, because when I didn't talk to her till however many days afterwards, and she calls me and she tells me what happened. So I'm like, what?
Right.
So I didn't expect any of that to happen. I thought, no, they'd work it out. They're not really going to try to kill her.
Right.
I didn't get, like I said, I didn't get in the drama. I was really outside that drama circle, so I didn't really ever expect to hear that would happen. That was very surprising to me.
And then 4 days later, you talked with her again, and that's when she asked if you saw her.
Yeah. I think it was that many days. You probably know better than me. I don't remember. It just seemed like that many days.
Anything else that you can think of? Regarding zombies, regarding getting rid of people, it's specifically into the Charles. Yeah.
I remember her saying things like, you know, Charles was a nice guy. I miss the old Charles, like, in there. She's like, I didn't even have a proper burial for him. Like, she didn't get to say goodbye. She was always being chased by these demons. She'd say stuff like that.
This was after his death?
I don't know, at some point. I don't know. I don't even know if it was after or before. It probably was before. Okay. You know, it's just like, he was a nice man. And she'd say nice things, kind of, but then she'd try to paint, it seems to me she'd just try to paint a story to be able to justify her reasons for leaving or whatever. And I encouraged her. I was like, why don't you get a divorce? And, you know, you probably heard that, me say that.
And why not?
Because, you know, they lose their exaltations. At least Chad would. I can't remember if she said she would, but he would.
Obviously, you made a comment earlier about the vibrations. Your vibrations increase every time you go to the temple, and your veil gets thinner, and you can teleport and all these different things, according to them.
According to them.
What do you think would have happened to her if she had her temple regimen taken away?
Then she wouldn't have been able to go to the temple anymore. She would have been sad about that, but I'm sure she would have kept on doing her crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Chad, whatever they really did, I don't really know.
Okay. Do you obviously think that was very important to her? Because she was going pretty much every day, is that my understanding?
She was. I mean, you know, I don't know how it went when she traveled and got all the price. I don't know how often she went after that, but she went often. Yeah. It wasn't the beginning before she met Chad. It was like an everyday thing. I think after she got Chad, I think it started lessening up sometimes, but it was definitely on her priority list. Even when she went to Hawaii, she would fly over to the main island to go to the temple there.
How much of this, and this is just a personal question, nothing kind of proof of the case or anything, how much do you think of this was religious based as opposed to
money and sex?
Absolutely.
So those are some good questions. I think in the beginning it was religious. Okay, I think that their lofty ideas of who they thought they were and their gifts, and manipulations by the dark side too, because I know that things can be manipulated to make things are light when they're not. Okay, I know that's real. But I think when they met, it was kind of like they were like, oh, I know this, you know all this, kind of like, let me show you what I know kind of feeling. Okay. And then it got into the sex. And I think sex was the driving force behind the new theories he came up with, the new doctrine that he came up with. I think that sex, and you know, a lot of people say it's money. I think the convenience of having the money was there so they could be together and do all their sexual things personally. I don't know how much, I think they just thought the idea probably the money was there just so that they didn't have to work maybe, but I don't know. So in the beginning, I think it was religious. Okay. I do. And I just think it just, and I think this is really what I think. I thought a lot about this, as you can imagine. I didn't know she was a manipulator because I just met her. So I didn't, and I'd never been around manipulation before. That's a new concept to me. Okay. I've never seen that. I don't know how to do it myself. I don't get it. I don't get how it works. So when she was manipulating, and what's the other word? Lying or deceiving, manipulating. It was just something I wasn't aware of, or came to understand looking back like a few times. Just a few times I would think she would lie, like when she did the police thing, and then, remember, this is a white lie, but little lies are a big deal to me. You do a little bit, you do a big to me. She'd say, oh, Melanie's gonna come over, I told her I wasn't feeling well, and I'm like, but you are feeling well. Like, to me, I wouldn't make that up. Right. That's not my personality, to say, pretend to somebody I'm doing something when I'm not. That, to me, you should always just say how you feel. Anyway, so I thought, that's weird. Why was she, if she's such a great person, why would she make up a little lie like that? Yeah. So that's the only time I can remember any lies. I'm sure there was tons of them going on, but I didn't know it. I was like, no way she would make stuff up. She's too good of a person, because she was just so sweet and loving and kind in the beginning. I'm like, there's no way she's making this stuff up. But anyway, so I think this is what is interesting to me now, looking back. Because of her manipulate and deception, she would find somebody that could manipulate, like he was manipulating, deceiving too. He tricked her, she tricked him. They tricked each other so well that they were their equal opposite evil match for each other.
Right.
Like they got exactly what they put out. You know, what you put out comes back to you. I think that's what they did for each other. And I think that's why they got in the mess, because if he would have done it with me or anybody else, would have been like, I'm not manipulating that, this is not going to work on me. But because she was that way too, I think that's why it worked.
In the time that you've known Chad, have you known him to be in any other extramarital relationships other than?
I noticed didn't feel like there was anything like that.
I did hear a report on that she had claimed that something happened, but I don't know.
I don't know that that's true.
Okay.
I would not know that.
Okay.
I didn't. It sounded like that wasn't true when I heard it. I was like,
Okay.
Yeah. So it didn't sound like something I would necessarily put him with. So.
Okay. Any talk? Well, obviously Tammy died in October. Did any talk? Did you weren't talking to Lori at that time then, right? Or did
in
you?
October?
Mm-hmm.
Not very much.
Okay. Did she ever mention anything to you about Tammy's death?
Yeah. Oh, I talked to the Attorney General all about Tammy.
Okay.
So that's all with them.
Okay, perfect. I'll let them handle
that. 4 hours.
Okay. No.
Very nice people.
Yes. We're not 4 hours.
Yeah. You want to spend 4 more hours on that one? Like, oh.
Well, honestly, you could go into this for days.
It hurts.
It does.
Like afterwards, you kind of jangled. You're like, I knew these people. Like this is, and everybody knows about me in the whole world.
Yeah.
I don't want everybody to know about me.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, oh.
I work on it for a day and I'm jangled for a week. So it's.
You can imagine what I've gone through.
I know.
It has been a living hell, but
I don't
I'm
want to
stronger.
imagine. Yeah.
No, I'm very stronger because of it.
Yeah.
And there's many things I'm grateful that happened to me and not somebody else.
Right.
Because I got to experience something at a very high level that was deception. That if I could consider my armor,
Yeah.
I had a weak link in this deception area. And now it's fortified. And now I know a lot more about deception. I'm grateful for that knowledge. I'm not grateful for what happened. I'm horrified that people died because of these crazies.
Yeah.
When somebody like Chad comes along and he seems so humble and sweet and kind, it's like, he looks like a typical Idaho boy, you know? You don't think that they're lying to you. Because I don't get the lying, the deceiving. I don't understand that. And so I just thought he was who he was. And so I have really started to see the flags of deception now, like little things along the way. We're talking to God all the time. We're getting all these answers all the time. No, God does not work like that.
Yeah.
He doesn't tell you what to do. Every time you wake up, he gives you a list of things to do. And I thought, wow, they have better skills than me, because I don't really hear from God like that. You know, I was like, wow, he sees visions all the time. He's got it, and I don't even think he has visions. I think he's making all this stuff up. But I did, in that first interview I was talking about it, I look back and I'm like, I don't think I was accurate anymore. I think that I have come to observe more and realize, like, because, you know, I've become friends with a lot of people, and was a really neat person I got to visit with. And she, you know, he wrote a book for her about her dreams and mostly about her near-death experience. When she was sharing that with him, he didn't disclose his. That's like if you and I were talking and I said, look, you tell me all about your near-death experience. I'm like, I'm going to tell you about mine.
Right.
He didn't do that.
You do it.
And so she's like, I think he took stuff from her and Julie and other people. I think he just kind of story writer.
Interesting.
And then he knew the scriptures. I believe he knew them really well.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think he just used that.
He did one. He was on a mission, right? I thought they had his partners.
Yeah, he was on a mission.
His stories with.
Yeah, he was a missionary. Yeah, but I just think that he was really good at conning people, and I think he was good. I think he was a good writer as far as pretending and making. He said it was fiction, but he was taking other people's stuff and making it sound like he would say in the backdrop, you know, to his friends or people like me or Lori, like, well, you know, these are things I really saw, but I make it like fiction.
Yeah.
So that would be his safeguard, I think, is saying, this is fiction, I didn't say this is real. That would be his safety net.
Back to the armor, you mentioned armor, and I've heard that term.
Oh, it's in the
my
scripture.
lifetime.
It's scriptural,
Yeah, your
armor
armor
of
God, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever reach out to Chad about maybe somebody you feeling vulnerable or needing a blessing or anything like that? Did you ever reach out?
Maybe I could have. I remember one time when my son was sick, and I said, do you think you could give him a blessing? blessing.
Okay.
Something like that. And he said, this was interesting. You'll be interested to hear of this. My son he was sick, and I was ministering to him like I always do, essential oils, or I do a lot of healthy things, put cold rags. I was very involved in helping my kids feel better. I did not do energy work, and because I didn't know how. Anyway, so I was doing my best, as this mom knows how to.
Yeah.
So he slept through the night. I was starting to feel better. He woke up, and he started to feel better, and then all of a sudden, the fever comes flying back on. You know that when your kids do that? So anyway, I thought, I'm just going to see if Chad can help out, because I've heard he could do that to other people.
Yeah.
I said, hey, he's got this fever. Do you think you could do something to help? Something, I don't know the words I used, probably said a blessing or something like that. I jump in the shower, come out, 10 minutes maybe, and it's completely better. And I'm like, hey, he didn't text back, I don't think. I just said, hey, feeling better. He goes, oh, I extracted this, how do you describe it? Extracted some entity or some dark something from him, virus. And I was like, well, whatever you did, he's better.
Yeah.
Now, we can push all of the ideas away. What I really think happens, and this is between you and me as a person, not as a police department, is that when you open dark doors, it gives you power to do things that are manipulating, deceiving, which mirrors things that look like they're healings.
Yeah.
And if you're given that power to put a virus on somebody, right, you could have the power to move that back off. Satan gave you that power to do that. And I think that's just how I did it. Because I know that he did that for other people. I think that was, I don't think I ever asked him to bless me personally, but I can't recall.
So a common thing, I think you mentioned, I did see something else, maybe with a reference to Zulma. I removed this from you, and I've increased your
Yeah, that
your
sounds like
armor.
something he would say.
Okay.
Your spiritual armor, which would not be an unusual Christian term to use.
Correct.
Yeah.
Just to ward off any kind of negative or dark spirits or something, Okay.
Yeah. So he thought he had this power to do it. And Zulma would say, I remember her saying many times, I don't know what he did, but all this darkness is off me now. I totally feel better. And so they dialogued more than I did, because she had all these things that I did not even have.
Okay.
So they would be on, and that's why I think it was harder for her to come out of this, is because I think that energy work got her sucked in, and I think that she really thought that was from God, and it wasn't.
Have you talked to Melanie Gibb, or did I ask you that?
No, you didn't ask me that. So I haven't. The last I tried to talk to her, hey, people aren't zombies. Brandon's not a zombie. That was back. I remember it was around Christmas time, right after I told the police everything. I talked to her that time, and she goes, I can't talk, the phone's being bugged. So she wasn't free to say how she could really, we couldn't have a real conversation because there was no microphones.
Yeah.
I encouraged her that it wasn't good. I encouraged her everything I could to what I had come to understand.
Okay.
And then she'd text me in the middle of the night, I don't know, it felt like weeks later maybe January, I don't remember.
Okay.
But anyway, and she's like, do you remember the name of a song? By Laura Daigle, we love Laura Daigle. And I couldn't remember. Anyway, we ended up talking, and I just continued to try to counsel her, and she continued to, I can't really share much.
Yeah.
Then after that, I never spoke. Oh, did I speak to her on the phone? I can't recall speaking to her again, but I remember trying to text her hey, I'm praying for you. You want to talk? I was trying to do my best to hold her. I was like, come on, don't you hope that you're not involved in anything. I didn't know if she was. And she just was like, I'm busy. Thank you for the prayer. Just short little answers. Then I saw her at the temple only once. I didn't talk to her, but I saw her, and it was Zulma, Summer, and her sitting on the couch. I walk into the celestial room. It's just a room where you sit down, and I go, first I saw her, I thought, oh, I can talk to her, and I saw Zulma there. I'm like, oh. And so Zulma was kind of facing down like that in the prayer, and then she kind of came up, and then I just turned and sat over here, around the corner. She didn't come to talk to me. I was bummed. I really wanted to talk to her. And then I just said, hey, I saw you at the temple, and anyway, so there's been really nothing. So yeah, I think that was maybe the last text or two, and I have not tried to contact her now that she's made statements about her belief structure. I just decided I just don't think there's a place for me right now with her life. So.
Did she ever come over on the night you spent the night at Lori's on the 9th? Did she come over?
I don't remember. I don't remember seeing her. She couldn't have. I mean, if she did, it was quick. I don't know. I just don't remember details like that, like people coming in and out, unless it's specifically.
Where did you sleep in your Lois that night?
So, okay, there's the back. So if you go to the kitchen, you take on the right, there's a JJ's bed in that bedroom, and then there's a bigger bedroom back here, and I think Tyler's was on this side.
Okay.
I'd have been in that back one.
The pink room?
I know it had some crazy stuff on the wall.
mattress on the floor?
Yep, mattress on the floor, just a big queen size.
Okay.
And it seemed like she might have had another one at one point, but anyway, there was a queen one, and
Was that food storage in that room? Do you remember if it was?
yeah, in the closet there was a little bit, but yeah, there wasn't, other than the bed.
Okay.
I think it was, yeah, that's the room I spent the night. I think I only spent the night, I want to say it felt like about 3 times.
Okay. But
It could've been
next morning, the 10th, she says you need to go.
And Alex was not there on the 9th when you were there.
No, I'm trying to see when he was, if I ever, I know I've seen him over there before, but I don't remember when it was. I don't remember him. I think I was gone before, if he came over, I think I was gone. I didn't see him. I'm just trying to remember when I did see him. Oh, my brain hurts.
I know it.
I'm trying, so my memory is not the sharpest always, and so I'm trying
good.
so.
Don't sell yourself short.
Yeah, I know. I try, and some things leave an imprint because it's so bad.
Right.
You know, it's like, I don't want to remember that.
You got to remember, we're asking you questions
Right.
what might have been just like mundane stuff,
I know.
and we're asking you to remember because now it might be important. Yeah.
Exactly. I am here to help wherever I can.
Awesome. Well, I got your number, and if I think of anything else, I'll probably just call you, and it's best, over the phone.
Yeah.
And make you come back in here.
Yeah, I'm just
Likewise,
trying to
if you think of something else that.
You know, one thing that I did think that was important, that recording that I did. I said, why would Alex say this? I don't know where the, how did I say it? I don't want to know where the kids are, and then they won't be able to be found. That won't be able to, I just kind of combined it, but that was from Zulma, that information was. That particular strip, I just threw into one when I was speaking to her, because they both came from either me or her. But anyway, I don't know why Alex would say that. I didn't even want him to know. Remember, that's what she said. I didn't even want him to know. And he doesn't even know where the kids are. I think she said something like, well, however I said it.
Yeah.
So to me, that says we can't blame Alex. If you're an attorney, she can't put that on Alex when she says we didn't even want Alex to know. So if they're going to try to put the blame on him, that I think that part of the recording is helpful.
Okay.
Would you agree?
And in regards to the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it could be helpful to be used against her, personally.
Yeah, there's a lot.
I know there's a lot of evidence. I know that we have not rolled out the rug yet because you guys know so much more than I do, even though I know the weirder kind of the definitions to what you're reading about.
You help us to corroborate
You have the Rosetta Stone for us.
Yeah, well, someday the police and I are all going to get together and have a powwow. It's all said and done. It's been a hellish year, but it's been great learning for me. And I'll just say that I'm grateful that if anybody had to go through it, I'm glad it was me and not somebody else.
Yeah.
Because I'm kind of that. The reason why I was involved, I would say, is because I am very trusting. That's my weakness.
Well, I've come across a couple people like that.
Yeah, just so trusting.
That are just trusting, and I hate to use the word naive.
But there's some gullibility there with trusting too much.
Absolutely.
You don't have a tough skin in that area yet.
One lady that I've spoken with was like, I trust everybody. I'm a huggy person. I trust everybody. There's good in everybody.
And there is good in everybody.
Well, especially when you're dealing with religion.
Yeah.
If you're talking at a level of religion and Christianity, you do have that trust. And to me, there's really no difference in. I mean, look at some of the scandals involving, priests, bishops, anybody in that high level of authority.
You can be manipulated.
Absolutely.
One of the definitions that I read in the Bible dictionary I thought was fascinating. It was under the title devil. And it said, because I'm researching a lot of stuff right now. It's been very interesting. My own little research going on. And it says, one of Satan's greatest tricks is to convince, I don't know if that's the right word, people that they are following God when they're not. And you think about all the other religions, and I would just say in general people, how many people have killed people in the name of religion? Gone in and raped people, villages, right? In the name of God.
Wars
That is one
of religion.
You know, yeah, wars are part of religion. So this is just a version of thinking they're these great people, and they still do, because they're not remorseful yet at all. They're still in this cloud. And I'm hoping that that bubble is going to pop one day, and I never want to speak to them until that bubble pops and go, "Look, do you know how much he deceived you? You killed your kids, girl." Or he killed them, or Alex killed them, or something, but she's involved. I feel like all three of them were involved. And I'm just, you needed some serious prayers, girl. You need some help. Like, it's going to be a rude awakening. You hope she gets that before she dies one day. You hope that she gets to that point. I'm hoping that she will have that before she passes on. You're really tall, but your sister's pretty tall.
So there you have it. Melanie Gibb's account of that pivotal day, August 19th, 2020, is when this interview took place at the Chandler Police Department. Her words paint a chilling picture filled with inconsistencies, unanswered questions, and a growing sense of unease. But this is far from the end of the story. What we've heard today is just one piece of a much larger puzzle. And remember, this investigation is sprawling, complex, and involves numerous individuals, each with their own perspective, their own secrets, and Melanie's interview, while revealing it's only the beginning. There are other voices waiting to be heard, other interviews yet to be explored. We know there are recordings out there of Serena Sharp, Nicole, Christina, Jason Mao, and of course, Zulma. Each of these individuals holds a piece of the truth, a piece that could illuminate the dark corners of this case. What did they say? What did they know? And how do their accounts align or clash with what we've heard from Melanie? These are the questions we will be grappling with in the episodes to come. We'll dive deeper into the timeline, meticulously piecing together the events that led to this tragic outcome. There's so much more to uncover, everyone. So much more to understand. And honestly, we're just getting started. Join us next time as we continue our exploration of this tangled web of relationships, beliefs, and ultimately betrayal. You won't want to miss it. Thank you so much for listening to Afterglow, the unveiling of the Idaho cult. This was Season 4, Episode 3. Stick around, so much more to cover. I'm Kathy Brooks. Stay safe and stay well. Bye-bye. Sources for this show: Annie Lennox, Annie Cushing, East Idaho News with Nate Eaton, Law and Crime. Theme music by Dan Lebowitz. I'm your host, Kathy Brooks, produced, edited, it's all by me. I'm a one-woman show, like I've said before, and I appreciate you so much. Thank you for listening. And please, if you have a minute, please give me a 5-star review if you believe my show is worth it. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.